What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, the other day, a ton of great information came out for Battlefield 2042, and I believe all of you guys are really going to enjoy what I have to say today. And also, at the same exact time, I got to go ahead and showcase this as well before we get into the actual topic. I just love the communication between DICE and their community. I mean, just look at this post right here. We'd like to hear your feedback on several gameplay elements now that Update 3.2 is available to play. Let's start with classes. What do you like? What do you dislike? Anything you'd like to see changed? Drop your feedback. This is the stuff that we need more, just simply with gaming in general. When developers actually ask and request feedback from their community, they get better results. And even if they don't always necessarily listen to the community's feedback, I personally think it's still better to be open and talkative than to be completely silent. I'm sorry to always jump back to COD, but it just hurts so bad when I see stuff like this and I think about Call of Duty. It's like they torture us, they clickbait us with the beginning cycle of every single Call of Duty game, and it's every development team. Sledgehammer is probably the most talkative, but between Treyarch and Infinity Ward, even though I would say Treyarch has less of an ego, all of their feedback and all of their communication takes place, before the launch of their games. And then once it launches, it's just a massive wall between them and their community. This right here is what we need more of. And I love to see DICE absolutely pushing to get all the feedback in the world from their community on the changes they're implementing into the game. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the actual topic of today's video. First and foremost, another fantastic thing that DICE has been doing here is putting out podcasts for the community to go ahead and listen to. It's an option. You don't have to go ahead and do it. You'll probably hear from other sources like, people like myself on YouTube, or you can go ahead and see, posts on Twitter. Like, again, I'm going to be showcasing here in a second. But these podcasts are actually outstanding. They really go into detail about things that are going on behind the scenes at DICE, what they're focusing on, where they're trying to focus the majority of their development time. It's actually quite interesting. But as you can see here, on episode 3 of their podcast, there were a handful of things that were definitely highlighted. And of course, I listened, and there's things that are not mentioned here that I might talk about in this video. But these are definitely probably the biggest takeaways out of the overall podcast. First and foremost being squad management is coming in the future. Second is Season 4 will bring back some old features from previous titles. The third is 2042's narrative continues in Season 5. And the fourth is no plans to make Breakthrough 128 players a permanent mode. Now, of course, we're going to go ahead and start off with the first bullet because that is going to be probably the most popular feature that's going to be reintroduced into Battlefield 2042. Finally, squad management. For the longest time now, as we all know, you cannot manage your squad whatsoever. It's completely randomized. If you play with friends, of course, they'll be automatically cycled into your squad. But at the end of the day, it just opts you into random squads. And of course, you can go to you have to hit pause and go to, it's a bunch of extra steps that you must take to go ahead and switch teams. Well, not teams, but switch squads. And even when you go through those extra steps, you can't even pick the squad that you might want to join. You can't see what players are playing as and, what you're trying to cycle into. It just keeps cycling randomly, over and over and over again. So a squad management feature is going to be massive for Battlefield 2042, especially since we just got the class system reintroduced into this game. Those are probably the two biggest key features that are going to make Battlefield 2042 actually feel like a Battlefield game again. Now, all they have to do, in my personal opinion, is bring back the squad point system from Battlefield 5, and then the overall system is just going to be absolute perfection. Because even though we have classes back and we can manage our squads, I still feel like that point system in Battlefield 5, even though, I didn't really care for the game. Well, I actually liked it when the Pacific update happened, but before that point, it was a little rough for me. But that was seriously my favorite thing about Battlefield 5, because it really, truly encouraged players to play as a team, and it encouraged the squad leader to actually, try to lead the squad, because you would get extra points for doing so. And the points weren't going to waste for absolutely, crap rewards. You could drop bombs on people, give yourself extra ammunition, and that's all for simply capturing objectives, marking the objectives when you go to capture them, defending objectives, so on and so forth, playing as a team and a squad. If they add in the point system in this overall mix while also adding in squad management, it's just dub after dub after dub. And I can see them incorporating the point system by simply adding it on top of the call-in system. Instead of just randomly allowing people to call in whatever they want, make them use points for it. If you want, to have your robot dog, then shoot. You should be able to earn points by playing the objective to get that robot dog. And of course, things would have to be rebalanced out, but at the end of the day, I think that would be a great implementation. Then, of course, the next bulletin was that Season 4 will bring back some old features from previous titles. So this right here, I am actually extremely curious about. And I want you guys to go down in the comment section and leave your opinions on what you think these old features are going to be and which titles from the past do you think they're going to be taking them from. And, of course, 2042's narrative continues in Season 5. This is actually something... I don't know because I kind of was a little into the story, but once they, just canceled the whole thing and the game just went down the tubes, everything to be known about this game was out the window. And honestly, the specialists weren't really a hit to even begin with, so I don't even know if anybody's going to genuinely care about a story. They're going to have to work their butts off. There's going to have to be just an absolutely banging narrative, and the backstories for these characters are going to have to be just absurd. They're going to have to be absurd because that's the only way we're going to be able to bring people to actually like the specialists is with a really fire good backstory. And I don't know if it could be done right now after they've been tarnished so bad. And again, you can't really chalk it up to the voice actors, the people who are working behind the scenes. It was the scripts that they wrote for the game, the theme they're trying to show for the game. The people are pretty much just tarnished from the beginning, but I'm still very interested to see what they have in store. And to me personally, this is still a good sign because it shows that Battlefield is getting back on track. It's not dying. It's not, going into the dirt. Everything that kind of, went behind the curtains is slowly emerging again. And well, personally, that's a good thing. And of course, the final thing, no plans to make Breakthrough 128 players a permanent mode. This I'm actually kind of disappointed about because I am extremely in love with 128 player Breakthrough. I know that's not a very popular opinion when it comes to the Battlefield community, but for me personally, when I think of Battlefield, and the future of Battlefield specifically, I just wanted to get bigger and better. I want to be able to see Battlefield obtain what it always had back in the day, the same destruction, the same atmosphere, the same everything, while being able to increase the player count. That's it. But sadly, they weren't able to do so while increasing the player count. And I think that tarnished a lot of people's mindsets on what a larger player count in Battlefield could truly be. And I think that's where the potential in Battlefield actually lies. Because the only in Battlefield moments, if we can, escalate that by having more players in the experience at the same time, it would just be absurd. And the possibilities are endless. But they have to be able to nail it. They have to do it correctly from the beginning until the end. And it's sad because they're not keeping it in. They're not really pushing for 128 players to be something that's popular within Battlefield, which I guess is fair enough. Maybe they don't have the technology to really make sure this game could be stable on such a player count, and we might have to wait until later in the future. But my biggest concern is that there will not be a future for 128 players. This will be something that is cut off very early because of this game specifically, and we'll sadly never see it again. So I hope that's not the case because it's good, especially with the reworked maps. I think that was my biggest issue with 128 players in the beginning, is the maps just simply sucked. They were so ridiculously. They were hands down the worst Battlefield maps ever designed. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I'm really not. But I just have to be completely honest with you. Compared to any other Battlefield game I have ever played, I have never went through a worse base rotation of maps ever. Now, of course, the reworks are fantastic and they actually play amazing. I mean, Breakaway pretty much plays like a completely different map. It's magical. But at the end of the day, again, first impressions matter. They really do matter. And everybody's first impressions were already screwed over. Not a lot of people got to witness what 128 players could play like on these new, better improved maps. And sadly, now we'll never really see what 128 players will play on, even in the future when they really do, settle down and the technology's there and they could really put out a banging title with a higher player count. Will they actually do that? Or will they think, oh, the community just simply doesn't like that? They only want to see the lower player counts. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like button. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Also, for brand new enjoy the content, subscribe, hit that notification button. Also, want to chat with us to we do so, Twitter and Discord, both linked down in the description. And also want to catch me live streams of video games over on Twitch, linked in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.